Okay. So welcome everyone to our re-meetup, Ask the Experts. This is the one and only place where you can actually ask your questions live on the show. So today we have Sid and Ishan, which will be coming in a few minutes. They are real estate investors and they've done many strategies quickly. So I thought this would be a great opportunity to have them on because you can just even hear about their strategy of why they moved, like ask any kind of questions. And the ones they've done is Airbnb, house hacking, private lending, student rental. I think that's all of them, right?
And multifamily,
And
multifamily investing as
multifamily.
well.
Yes, multifamily. So thank you for coming on, Sid.
Thanks a lot for having us. This is a good opportunity for us to share the knowledge we have gathered and how we pivoted our journey from one strategy to another one to find what really fits our needs and what we're gonna work on going forward. I think Ishan's here as well.
Okay.
Hey guys.
Hey.
Hi. Sorry I was a little late.
No problems. Actually, we're just getting started. So you came in good timing because we're just supposed to get onto the questions.
Thank you.
So let's start with, just so everyone knows, just start with like a little bit about you guys.
So we started investing, I think 2020 May, exactly when COVID hit. We went on a buying spree. We really started with, I think, 12 grand RRSP with myself, 13 with himself. And we just went on a buying spree, whatever we could buy. I think in the beginning, we could only buy properties at 5% downs because birds would need at least even $80,000 to $100,000, even in a market like Windsor. So Sean picked up student rental in Windsor, which started cash flowing a little more than $1,000. And it was already renovated, so we didn't have to do anything there. I bought a property in Cambridge, which was a single family home with a legal secondary dwelling unit. So we stay on top, and then we just quickly renovated the basement and started doing Airbnb in the basement, where the Airbnb pays my mortgage. So we live on top in a 2-bedroom unit just by paying utilities, I felt it was amazing because I am getting the appreciation of a market as strong as Cambridge. After that, we started working with a friend of ours who was very keen on investing, and he was seeing how we were growing so quickly. So we were trying to find something for him, but so there was a hiccup somewhere where he went firm on something and the bank did not allow to finance that property. So we are like, okay, you are my best friend from long time ago in university. So I am in a very good position right now, and I don't want this to be your first deal. So I was like, okay, I have so much equity in my Cambridge house. Let me leverage that, get private lending. And I picked that up just to get it off his hands. And then we had another duplex in Windsor lined up, which was a stellar deal. That was a full burr. What was after that? Then
so all this happened in the frame of 10 months.
Yeah.
In 10 months, we are at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units in 10 months. And it was along this way we understood wholesaling. We understood the capacity of private lending and how the semantics of it works exactly. And then from there onwards, we understood one deal. That deal is one of the most important parts of this whole navigation process of scaling. If you have a deal, money can come in from somewhere. Partners can come in from somewhere. Or if someone has the deal, someone else will get the money. You just need to connect the people and run the show, be the active partner. So we started our wholesaling business, right?
So I think January 2021, we started our wholesaling business. We spent a lot of money on flyers because that was the easiest way, because both of us are doing all of this while we have our full-time software jobs. I'm working as a software developer at Russell Metals. He's working as a software developer at Microsoft. So we have our hands tied up. So I thought like spending money on flyers is the easiest way to get into wholesaling. So we did that. The first deal we got under contract was a 5-unit building in Cambridge, which was an amazing deal because in the beginning, we weren't sure if it's a legal 4 or legal 5. It ended up as a legal 5. And we got to know this is a stellar deal because, but at that time, we didn't have no money to close anything. We were probably minus 150K in debt on private lending, lines of credit and stuff. So we were like, okay, you need to make this happen. We spoke to a bunch of people in our network from Cambridge, and we got to know, okay, this property is worth way more than what we think it is. And then we got in touch with a few private lenders who are local to this market, because they would know what is the real value of this deal, and they wouldn't judge us for, like, we don't have no equity anywhere, right? Like, we scale so quickly, we don't have any equity to give you as collateral. So we're like, okay, we had a chat with him. He understood the deal. He's like, as long as this is a legal file, this is a stellar deal. So what do you want? I told him, like, we told him, we are looking for 0% down on this property. He's like, that's too much to ask on your first deal, but it's doable. If you can get me an appraisal of 950 plus, I'll give you 0% down. And the appraisal came in at 960, which was amazing.
How much did we buy it for?
We got it for 800.
Yes.
It appraised for 960.
Yes, as is.
So we had 160K equity built in,
yes,
on a 5plex with loads of potential. Yeah. So that was literally our first wholesale deal. If we would have wholesale, we would have probably made more than 100, but we decided we are investors first, wholesalers second. So it's like, okay, let's close on this. So we closed it, and then we started the process of cash for keys. There were 5 units, out of which 1 was owner occupied. So 4 units remaining. Those 4 units, we got an expert to come in, help us with cash for keys. Like, we pretty much knew what to do, but there was so much online. I couldn't risk it. We couldn't risk it. So we got an expert to help us out. We ended up spending 30,000 roughly on cash for keys. But the moment the tenants step out of the building, we roughly got an equity jump, because the rents were so low. Now that the tenants just step out of the building, the rents go to market rents, and we get an equity jump of I think we spent 30,000 in cash for keys, and we made roughly 150 to 200,000 just by getting them out. And then that was the day when we were like, okay, we were just thinking, what else can we do with the property? Because the lot size, the density, the square footage, what else? The zoning of the property was on point. And we knew from the beginning that this can be scaled, because this property can have a lot more units than it already has. So we started engaging an architect like really quickly, because we were burning, I think, a lot, like $7,500. We're currently burning $7,500 on that property without no rents coming in. So we engaged an architect. We got the ideas from what he thinks, and we are not adding any structure to the existing structure. We're just playing with the layouts. Since this was an old building, the units are huge. The units are humongous. So now we are just dividing we are just converting the layout inside the building to convert the 5 units into 8 units, because that is the max I can put on this lot. So we have applied that to the city. In 10 business days, the city came back. It'll be $3,000. We paid them $3,000. Now we're just waiting to hear back from them. I think October 1st week, we hear back from them. And that time we know if we can go ahead with the 8plex. I think the ARV on this property, if we are not able to convert this into an 8plex, ARV on this property is roughly 1.45 mil. And the renovations cost would be $150,000. And if we convert this into an 8plex, the ARV, we are looking from 1.85 to 1.9 mil. And the renovation cost would be $250,000. Yeah, and at the end of everything, we realized like we have paid almost $100,000 to the wholes. We would end up paying $100,000 to the private lender, but we realized that none of this could have happened without the private lender, and that private lender kind of gave us time to kind of liquidate a couple of our properties back in Windsor, because after 1 year of investing, we realized student rental is not the model we want to follow. So that gets us to where we are right now. And we are in that time, I think Ishan, when I was in Costa Rica, enjoying my best life, I think in April sometime, Ishan got a property under contract and wholesaled it in the span of 2 weeks. And I'm like, okay, this is amazing. I don't think I need to come back. I should extend my vacation for a week, because we just made some money. So we did that. And then I think 2 days ago, we got another property under contract, which we will be closing by ourselves again. That is a back split in Cambridge. Yeah, I think we have it, I think $60,000 below market value.
That's awesome.
So that is the whole portfolio, and that is where we are right now.
That's awesome. Yeah, you guys have done a lot of things. And PK has a question. I'll give him a couple seconds to see if he wants to come and ask it himself. If not, then I can ask. So let me see if he's gonna come.
Hi guys.
Hi.
Hi.
You got a question? I can see you. We can hear you.
Okay. So hi Ishan and sorry, Ishan and Sid. Yeah, Ishan and Sid. I'm a follower of your pages on Instagram. So I would like to know, in 2022, what do you think the top three rental cash flowing markets in Ontario? As you see that the housing costs are rising, and I would like to know, like, what do you think the top three markets?
I think, like, you're right, that the cost of purchase is increasing. So 1% rule doesn't fit perfectly anywhere. But I think, like, you will have to go further. Like, Sudbury was a good location, I think, 1 year ago. Now the market is so much bloated with investors. It's even tough to find 1% cash flowing assets there. So I think, like, Sudbury would be one, North Bay would be one. Maybe further, you can also look at Kirkland, Timmins. But you also have to, at the same time, make sure that the fundamentals of the city are strong, the population is strong, because buying and cash flowing is not a problem. The day you sell it, you should have some appreciation as well. But I would also kind of make this a little difficult for you. You should also try to find opportunities in markets like Cambridge, right? Because currently my house, if I sell it, I bought it at 440. If I sell it, it'll sell for 840. If someone buys this at 20% down, their payment would be roughly 2,400-ish, or I think somewhere around that. And their expense of the house would be another 700-800. So your expense would be $3,000 to 3.5. But this house, I have a 2-bed unit on top. So the idea with Airbnb is, like, 1-bed units gets you $2,000 if you do it right. 2-bed units gets you $3,000. 3-bed units gets you 3.5. I have a studio in the basement which gets me $2,000 every month. If I rent out the top as well on Airbnb, I get $3,000. So totally I'm at 5, and my expense is 3.5. So I cash flow $1,500 on this one. Now, another fun part to this would be, you run this in a corp. So it is an active business, not a passive business. If it's a passive business, you are subject to, I don't know, 40-50%.
Like 45 or something percent.
So even when you make $1,000 cash flow, what are you really making, right? But if you run it in a corp as an active business, you end up paying 12%, and that also you can write off against a million things, right? And you will have to furnish your Airbnb, so you will end up spending a lot in the first year. So I would say, like, finding a good market, like cash flowing, that is good. But the next level would be to find deals or properties where, even in a market like Cambridge, you can cash flow. Because I don't know how much Kirkland, North Bay, Sudbury would increase. Sudbury increased because all the investors flocked to that, right? Otherwise, the fundamentals does not justify Sudbury increasing that much. But Cambridge, or a market like Hamilton, some markets like these will definitely increase. There is no way it will. The fundamentals are really strong.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the further away from the bigger cities you go, the appreciation is much less, but your cash flow can be higher.
Yeah.
Right? So yeah, it's very interesting.
Just one last question.
Yeah.
I would like to know why, did you have a thought about shifting to markets on the other side? Because, for example, Cornwall is a city which is equidistant from 2 big cities, Ottawa and Montreal.
Yeah. Yes.
Also, there is a city named Kingston, which is halfway through Montreal from Toronto, right?
Kingston, Belleville.
Yes, Belleville, and especially Cornwall. Like, I've seen so many people talking about Cornwall because most of the single family houses or duplex or triplex are getting within like 250K. So
Absolutely.
I would like to know, like, did you guys take a look, or like, what's your perspective about it?
So personally, for me, I don't cover the east side, so I am not such an expert on the east side. But from the fundamentals point of view, I'll give you an example. Guelph is the most expensive market. Then comes Kitchener Waterloo, and then Cambridge was not even close. Like, I think if you bought a house I bought 1 year ago for 440. Another year before that, you could get a bigger house, like a 3-level back split on a huge lot for 440. Today's rate, the price of this house is 840. Now, what I'm trying to explain you is, since Guelph, Kitchener, Waterloo was so hot, there is no other way, other place you cannot buy here. So where are you gonna buy? You're gonna come to Cambridge, and then Cambridge picks up. So what you're saying is pretty good. Like something like Cornwall, like you said, if it's between those two strong markets,
Yes.
it is bound to pick up. Like look at Brantford. 3 years ago, you would never buy anything in Brantford. Like I think we went to Brantford for checking out a couple properties, and just the quality of people everywhere scared the hell out of me. So I would never buy anything in Brantford, but apparently Brantford is one of the hottest markets because you cannot buy in Hamilton, you cannot buy in Kitchener, Waterloo, Guelph, now not even in Cambridge. So where will you buy? Brantford is the only place you can buy. Next is go to Stratford, right? So I think like if you target like that, if there are stronger markets,
Yes.
and then eventually the affordability of people, it's like buying a house is not affordable to people. They will prefer to drive 20 more minutes. That's not a problem, right?
So Cornwall is a good idea, actually.
Yeah.
I also looked into that market like 8 months back, but then I was working with my coach. He specifically said that be specific to your market. It's nice to learn about other markets as well, but be the niche of one particular area and market and be expert in that. Otherwise, I was also looking at Cornwall because Cornwall was really good based on the 1% and all that stuff, rules and everything. So I completely agree on your point. If you're towards east, look into Cornwall, connect with investors over there, and see how it goes from there.
And I'd like to add on to that actually, which is something that actually you guys did, Sid and Ishan, is that, and which is what the good thing of finding houses privately is that if you get a deal really good under market value, where you get, for example, because I'm in the same situation. So like my Hamilton house that I just bought, we're flipping it, but I was able to get 100% funding for it, like the whole flip and the house, because I got it under value. So I wouldn't also throw away cities, right? Like, because you will, if you're good at finding the deals, doesn't matter where you are, because like that, like you guys were also able to get 100% of the value of the multi-unit because you got a really good deal on it, right? So and the price of your what you bought it for was 800, right? So like don't get scared about the numbers, because I think that people get very scared about the numbers, and it's more about like find the area you want to be in and just make the numbers work, you know, like you find the price of the house that, okay, this is the number that has to be for me to cash flow, for example, like that student rental or Airbnb, because those are much more high cash flowing than, let's say, just standard rental, and use that to your benefit and just run your numbers in that way. Like if you're like, okay, you know what, I'm going to do Airbnb, because I think Airbnb works in any city, doesn't it? Like, aren't you cash flowing in any city? I don't do Airbnb, so that's why I'm asking, actually.
So Airbnb, there's an idea with the Airbnb that every city has their own rules specific with short-term rentals. Suppose if you're in Niagara region, there's a lot of hotels, there's tourism. Now the hotels don't want you to do Airbnb. So there's only a particular set of zone codes where your properties are, then only you can do the Airbnb. And then there's some other markets where you can only do it for 6 months out of the whole year, like in Toronto, for example. So
I think in Toronto, you can't even do 6 months. It's like you have to have a primary. Yes. Only in your primary, you can do Airbnb. So pretty much you should be filthy rich. Having a duplex, triplex, only then you can, or you should have a condo and rent one room out.
So I would say like connect with someone who is doing Airbnb in the market where you want to do, because he would have done all the research and everything. So that will literally help you guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, good point. So definitely make sure that you do look up Airbnb if you're going to do Airbnb, because yeah, you're right. And that's probably why I haven't done it.
Yeah.
So we have another question from Trami. Do you want to come on, Trami, and ask your question? I'll give her a couple seconds to see if she wants to come on.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Hey, Trami, how are you?
Good. This is amazing story, guys. Like, this is like crazy. You guys have been able to like find such an amazing property and just it's like a golden goose. Just it's been like giving you back and like continue to just give you like, you know, gold. So what was my question?
How do you get your leads for off
Oh
markets?
yes. Can you just go
Yes.
into a little bit more about that, please? Thank you.
Yeah. So it depends where you are at. I would say a simple answer, connect with all wholesalers who work in your region. So if I am a wholesaler, right, and you reach out to me, then I'm working in Cambridge, Waterloo, say Cornwall, North Bay, Windsor. So I want to know who is my investor in Cornwall. There's going to be 10 investors or 20 investors. If you want to invest in Cornwall, you should be in my list of people who I connect with first rather than shooting out the email package to the whole world, right? So I can even let you know, hey, I'm getting a lead. And you're like letting me know, did you get any lead somewhere in this? Is someone in your network getting the lead? So we are in touch right now. So if you want to deal in Cornwall, I know, okay, Trami always is asking me for Cornwall for past 1 month. So I have it in my mind. So if I'm not getting, and if Sid is getting his Sid, I might have a buyer for you. And she's looking to really seal the deal she's been asking for. So you should be in the network of wholesalers and the wholesalers should know you. Then again, after all that, they'll be looking for the best person who's buying the deals, right? But if you are in the loop and if you show that I'll be willing to close it and just give the money deposit or something, just confirming stuff, that's the way to roll. Other than that, I would say if you have a lot of time, you can go TGG scraping.
Can I ask you one question? When you said leads, you said finding sellers directly or just finding a deal kind of a thing?
Yeah, I mean, I've been making offers for like the wholesalers. I get emails and stuff, but I find that they try to bid like they get a lot of like interest, so I'm not having a lot of luck with that. So now I'm just like, okay, maybe I should just like contact the houses directly, right? So
if you're trying to get into wholesaling, it depends. Like for us, we have our software development jobs, so we don't have time. So we just spend $3,000, $5,000 per month on marketing to blast flyers. But if you don't have that kind of money to blast flyers, what you could do would be Kijiji scraping, Facebook Marketplace. Even in Facebook Marketplace, when you just try to go through rental ads, see if you see depressed properties, landlords trying to rent depressed properties, have a conversation, probably make an effort to even go and see the house and then probably try to ask them if they are looking to sell or if they know anyone looking to sell, because landlords know a lot of landlords. That's always the case. And other than that, you could also do driving for dollars, where, I mean, you can just drive around neighborhoods and just whatever house you see is messed up, go drop a flyer in their mailbox and then continue driving.
Just to give you an example, right over here, I have all these letters over here where I'm just going to put a letter inside. I've put the stamp and I know the address while I'm driving for dollars. So I'll go with Sid. Sid will be driving. I'll be looking at the houses. This roof is screwed up, but it's in a very good neighborhood. So I'm just trying to understand, if the house is almost $1 million and the guy doesn't have money to do the roof, what does it say? Right? Like if you have $1 million house and you have not done your roof or the windows, like your metal windows still, are you like kidding me? Like, why are you doing this for yourself? Like, just sell that house, go to somewhere in a small scale, but live rich, right? So things like that, when you see like the bushes outside, now it's summer, like there's like long grown like
grass, weeds
and everything. So I'm like, okay, maybe someone old age is staying, someone cannot take care of the place, and it's in a good neighborhood, like it's calling for help. So you are looking at that and then you just note down the address, or you can have handy letters and you can just go and drop in the mailbox.
Yeah.
Again, once you get the confidence, you knock on their door and you ask them, hey, I'm looking to buy properties in this neighborhood. If you happen to know of anyone who's interested in selling, please let me know.
Like just to add to that, I recently what I did was I scraped off expired listings from 2 years back on MLS, and I got to know exactly who tried to sell and didn't sell. So I just go and door knock on them, and it worked. Like the guy is looking for offer. We had a good 20-minute conversation. He is looking forward for an offer, but the house was small. We were interested in the huge lot, but the house was really tiny, so it didn't work out. But if I really wanted to add I can put an offer, and I would have gotten that.
Does that answer your question, Trami, or do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, no, that's awesome. You guys are dropping like massive bombs. So it just, like it's not that complicated from what it sounds. So
Yeah.
I just have to put in the work. That's all it is, right?
Absolutely. You have to put in a lot of work. If you don't have time to do that, you have to put in money. So right now, like I mentioned, we don't have time because we have our jobs as well. So we are happy to drop $5,000 on flyers every month. It's all right.
Do you
As
guys
long
still
as I
take
keep
care of the
getting-
calls yourself?
Yes.
Yeah.
So ideally, we just do it in 2 weeks intervals. So like the day the flyer drops, like 3-4 days, you'll get a bunch of calls, and probably 1 week you'll be in showings, and then 1 week will be gap, and then we'll every alternate week would be we would rotate it in a way where every alternate week is busy.
Yeah.
And then it's 2 of us. So if I'm in a meeting, he takes the call. If he's in a meeting, I take a call. And what we have done recently is we tried doing different markets. Like we went all the way to London, and on north side all the way till Aurelia, and we realized Aurelia is far away for us who have a full-time job. So what we are doing specifically is just targeting maybe 1 hour radius from Cambridge, which is drivable, because after my 9 to 5, I drive all the way to Aurelia. That's 2.5, 3 hours, and in traffic, and then I have to come back. So there have been occasions we leave 4:30, we leave office, and then we start driving. We come back at 12:30. We just have had some pizza, and then we have to get up and work again. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
I have just one follow-up question.
Please.
Absolutely.
So with the retention rate of in-person door knocking versus the flyer campaign, which is more of a success rate, would you say?
I think before.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Before, yeah, I think you got it.
I
right.
think before, flyers used to work amazing because there were not so many wholesalers. Now every other guy is a wholesaler, and the problem here is not a lot of people take coaching or training to do it, so they're not even doing it right. And then you just have my personal house, I get at least 6-7 flyers every month. So it's how does the person even know who is the best wholesalers? And it's just watered down. So people don't even believe in it. And it's you're competing. Every time I get a call, the lady tells me she's already called 2 wholesalers. So I'm okay, I have to get this signed and sealed today. There is no waiting. I have to do all I can do to get it signed, because tomorrow the other guy will be here and it's competition. So that's why another thing comes in picture is 1 hour radius. But I think to answer your questions, the power of flyers has become watered down a bit, but then no one is doing door knocking, I feel.
Yeah.
Door knocking is so undervalued.
Yeah.
Because first of all, you need to be a people person to go and knock on,
Correct.
have a random conversation with a random person, right? And then ask them to, if you know anyone who is looking to sell, or if you want to sell. So I think you could do that, but it's just time consuming, right? That's the only thing. So it all depends on how much time you have, time and money, and then in that way you can make a better decision. But to answer your question, door knocking is way more effective than flyers.
I agree with you. I'm also noticing that too, because I don't do the door knocking, but I have a partner where they do the door knocking. Because it is true, it takes a lot of time, so you need someone that has the time to do it. So I would agree with you with that.
And I would also like to add one more thing to that, what my coach had told me. our coach had told us that you should never try only one method. You should be like a spider, throwing a spider web. Like anywhere you go, the deals are coming from multiple places.
Yes.
Try flyers, try those bandage stickers, try door knocking, try driving for dollars, and do everything you can.
Everything you can, and then figure out what works for you, right? And that will also change over time.
Yeah.
And or you'll have a very good understanding of what was working when, and you are just understanding at your own scale.
What we have recently started doing is we collect data as to which we weren't doing in the beginning. Now we collect data as to, okay, this number of calls I got from these cities, these many flyers I dropped in the cities. Out of that, these were the strong leads. So I know which city, like which city is more
get a call back, right?
Yeah, in terms of flyers, right? Because if you come to Cambridge, Kitchener, Waterloo, my house itself, I get 7 flyers every month.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty sure that I'll be competing with people to get a deal under contract. But if I go to a smaller city further, like say 1 hour, 1.5 hour, 2 hours, there's no flyers. Like to give an example, 1 year ago, our friend started wholesaling in North Bay. And people were calling and telling him, your handwriting is good. What is this? Is this for real? Because North Bay had no idea of what wholesaling is. So like if you tap into a market like this, you have struck gold, right?
That's amazing. That's great to hear. And a great point that you said, actually, that I wanted to maybe elaborate a little more on is that trying many things, because like you said, if your heart is also, I feel like, not in it, like if you dread door knocking, you'll do the worst door knocking ever anyways, and you're not going to get a deal anyways, right? So trying it out and trying out all the different strategies and seeing where you're good at it, because it's true, I feel like it's like that. Like right now, I also agree with you with the door knocking. It works really well right now, I think, because like that, so many flyers out that at least the person to person contact kind of gives that extra touch. But again, if you can't do it, like you're not going to get it anyways. But at the same time, like if you really do want to do it, you can also use it for practice. And yeah, the first few may be terrible, but then you get better too.
Absolutely.
I mean, talking to seller and negotiating is also an art, right? Like we are also learning as we go and we are getting better at it. Yeah. So just having those conversations by door knocking also helps you by, reading body language, getting to know what the person is thinking. Am I overstepping my boundary? Like all those calibrating factors, like will just make you a better people person.
Yeah.
You're just playing the game in hard mode. And then when you go to normal life, everything's easy kind of a thing, I said.
I totally agree with you with that too. Trami, do you have any follow-up, or did that answer your question?
Yeah, that was great. So I'm coming to Cambridge and we're doing door knocking, guys. Let's go.
Let's do it.
And I think someone else, was it?
It was me.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. So when Ishan mentioned they're looking like they're following their coach. So would you mind sharing? Like I know there's like a bunch of people out there teaching what to do and how to do, but like when you guys consider someone for coaching, do you like which is that specific institution that you're preferring, or which is that specific person that you would prefer?
So I would like to add something here. First coach for me was Austin, and Austin has scaled drastically in real estate. And when I started coaching with him, I told him, like, if you need money, I'll give money. But if you need my time, I'll give you my time. I'll do work for you for free. That's how I got to connect with Austin. And then I connected with Austin's coach later because he became too busy. And then I was working with Corey McKinnon. But at the same time, there is a lot of other institutions and other people who are doing coaching. For me to come to a consensus that I want to go with Corey McKinnon is because when I met that guy in person, there is something which connects me with that person, which is what I understand and I feel. Right? And if I don't feel that connection with Corey and I feel with someone else, I would go with that person. That doesn't make Corey as not a good coach or Austin as a good coach or someone else as a best coach. For me, who is the best, I'm just looking for that person. So I would give you an honest advice is get to know about the person, get to interact with the person, and how do you feel about the person? Are you on the same level? Now, if I was like for example, new to this country and I didn't know anything, and I was like, okay, how do I work? I would find an Indian dude. I'm from India. Okay, you're an Indian. Okay, you know where I come from. I've just got into this country fresh off the board. So, all right, I think I'll be more comfortable working with you. Now, I don't want the best of the best or someone like that, right? So it depends who you are most comfortable with, who you find is common with your understanding, and then you can grow with them.
Right, true, true. I was looking into a few other things like Cash Flow Tribe, and the other one was have you heard about Flipping for Profit? Navtaj Chandok.
Yeah. So again, I would say these are institutions which have programs and everything. You have to get to know the person who's coaching. If you're getting personally coached, you need to know the person who you're giving the money to. Okay, am I giving the money to Sid or Ishan, or am I giving the money to an organization? And I've not even spoken with Sid and Ishan, and I won't even get to interact. So, right? Otherwise, you can just go and look our videos online, just learn from there. I think you're not getting.
If you look at Matt McKay videos, there is more than enough to know about anything.
Exactly.
But I think just to add to that, I believe you have to have a conversation with the guy you're going to be coached with, and it's more like tenant screening process. It's the same thing, right? What do you feel about the person?
Yes.
And more than that, if you haven't coached before, you will definitely have that resistance. Oh, should I give this guy 10,000, 15,000, 20,000, whatever, right? Because you have never done that before. But it is always useful, because some things you don't know, you will never know. They say, if you don't know, you don't know, kind of thing, right? Those are the things, your blind spots. Your coach can see you and help you out with that. Another thing to add would be, make sure your coach is doing what you're doing and what you want to be doing.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yes.
I wouldn't, if I'm looking to grab multifamily buildings, I wouldn't be coaching with a wholesaler who's going to teach me wholesaling. Okay, that is good. But if I want to coach, if I want to be a wholesaler, I'll coach under a wholesaler.
Yes.
If I want to grab multifamily buildings, I'll coach with a multifamily buildings.
Correct.
I'll make sure I find out how many units does he own right now. And is he still buying?
Yes, yes. Because I want to tap into that guy's network as well. Because then again, it's going to be other Ishan and Sids and Trami and Neeral who will be in that zone. So the power of networking is immense. And even before joining, say, Corey McKinnon or someone, I need to know what is Neeral doing with Corey McKinnon? How is he going? Maybe he's on the top, way ahead of me. Maybe Trami is also on my level. So I can connect with Trami more and get to an understanding. How is her coaching going? What is she learning? And I can get a feel of it, because that will be an honest opinion rather than, hey, this guy is the best man in the business. Like, he can be the best. He will be the best. But is he best for me is the question, right? So these are the few questions you need to ask.
Can I give you the uncensored version to this? I would say coaching is for someone who cannot connect with people easily, who cannot build those strong connections. And you coach so that you are in a tribe with killers. And if I'm coaching with someone and he's also in the group, I know he's paid 15 grand, he's serious. I have paid 15 grand, I'm serious. And that's where you find partners, that's where you find relationships, because your coach might be giving you maybe 1 hour call every 2 weeks or so. That's sometimes not enough, right? So knowing the person who is being coached, who is probably in the same market, who kind of has an idea and who is also going towards the same kind of goal, is way more important than coaching also. Coaching is for someone who cannot connect with people easily and build those strong connections, I feel.
Or struggle at taking action, I would say. Also, if you struggle at taking action, or you have like fears, a lot of fears, the mentor really helps you to clear up those fears. You know, like if you're like, oh my God, I'm scared to do this, you tell him or her, and then they'll tell you, oh, okay, but what about that? Like, they clear those fears out, and you're like, oh, okay, I was reacting.
I think that was the other side of the coin which she mentioned. Thank you for mentioning that.
Awesome, thanks.
No problem. PK, I don't know if he's on anymore though, had a question, so maybe I'll say it because I think he left. But
okay, I'm here.
Oh, okay. Sorry about that. Oh, you changed your name on us.
Yeah, actually, I checked the name later, so yeah, I want to write the right one. So, anyways, so I have checked sources to know the property prices in several markets like Windsor or Sudbury, but I wasn't able to find what is the sold price of those properties in those areas. So if I want to analyze a market online, like what tools do you use to know the sold prices of a property? Instead of, I know that you can connect with a realtor, but you can't just ping him every time, hey, what is the price of this one? What is the price of this one? You know, it will be so much torture for him. So I would like to know.
So can I take this?
Yeah,
sure. So for example, now if I'm going to Cornwall, I don't have any idea about Cornwall now. I'll just ask, say, if someone is over there, say, my friend Vardhan works in Cornwall. So I'm like, okay, how much does a duplex go for? It'll be like 350K. Okay, single family, 280 to 300K. Okay. Now my next question is there, how is the segregation of the market? A, B, C, D. A plus, B minus, C plus, C minus. Because I first of all don't want to go to the D market, right? I want to go maximum to the C. If the deal is freaking awesome. If it's not, then I'll not also go in the C. Because I'm going in a new market, I want to be little safe, right? I'll go in a good grade of that particular pocket. So this understanding, either your realtor can give you, but then again, if the realtor is understanding you are buying for first time home buyer, then he would be skewed towards getting you the maximum price. But if you're trying to be an investor and he knows you're an investor, then he's like, again, thinking like, okay, there are 10 more investors. I can't spend too much time with him. So you got to talk to the other 10 more investors to get to know, okay, which is the proper markets. Because if I'm an investor and I'm already investing in Cambridge, you come to me, I'll tell you, this is a good pocket, this is not a good pocket, this is a nice pocket. So if in the nice pocket, the price is also high, it's not as much as you thought, but it's still under market, I would say go for it, because the semantics of the market will take you up. And if you're creative, it's good. So I will ask, okay, in A market, how much are the duplexes going for in the past 3 to 6 months? What have the prices have been, right? In A market, P market, what are the duplexes going for 3 to 6 months? 6 months is too much, but just to get the data, right? And then once you get the data, you try to understand, okay, couple weeks back, it went for 340 here. Couple weeks back, it went for 300 over here. Why did that one go for 340? Was there anything specific? Now you're digging deep in a particular pocket. Now you're trying to be an expert of the particular segment of the pocket. Next time you see a house for 320 in that particular pocket, you're like, I got to take this house because the last one went for 340. And if the finishes I can do somewhere over there, and then I can get it to an ARV of, say, whatever the number is, whatever your math works, then you're confident. So any market where you're starting, you have to put in work. That is one thing. So once you put in work, after a month or so, you will have a very good understanding. And that understanding will lead you to take action, not because Ishan said, oh, this house is good. Because Ishan is Ishan, but you, unless you have your own research done, which you can take help of Ishan, Sid, and other investors. But this is how I would say is like you would analyze, right?
Yeah.
And I would say always, like, if you are understanding a particular market and you think the price is still overvalued for a house, put an offer. Put an offer, low ball offer, put an offer. If the realtor will be like, hey, I can't put that low offer. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I'm like, okay, fine. Learn how to put an offer and put an offer yourself. Tell the other realtor, I'll give you double dip. Put this offer. Or if this comes back and the financing condition or something doesn't go through, let me know. Now, being a realtor, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm getting double dip, as in like both the commission from you. So I'm more inclined to sell it to you than the other person, even if the house is selling for more. Then I can be a little creative. Can we do vendor take back for a little more? And then you're trying to get the deal. So you're in the process. So I would like that emphasis, right?
Just to answer, I think first is connect with investors. In any market you go, connect with investors. Get A, B, C, D, whatever neighborhoods,
Correct.
so you know where you're buying, and then get an idea of single families, duplexes, how much roughly it goes for in different areas, and then
connect with the wholesalers also. In
wholesalers,
that, now you're talking
absolutely.
to wholesalers like, okay, this property is for this. You can have a chat with the wholesaler and he's working in a particular area. He'll be like, yeah.
Connect with wholesalers,
Yeah.
connect with agents.
Yeah.
For agents, it's a little tricky because you have to value their time.
Exactly.
Because in the end, if you don't buy anything
Yes.
from him, and
Yeah.
then you're just wasting his time, then it's not good. So you got to make sure you provide value
Correct.
to the agent in any means possible, in different ways. Like we give shout outs to our agents
online.
Even though I wouldn't have bought anything from him, but he has helped me so much. He deserves a shout out, right?
Yeah.
Like if anyone in my network is looking to buy something in Windsor,
they're like, okay,
you have to buy from this guy. This guy's amazing.
Like, all right. So
you provide value in one way or the other, right?
And just make sure the guy tells like you've been referred by you. You have to tell him that he's been referred by us. So these are the few strategies here and there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Just a quick follow-up question.
Yes.
I think it's very basic. So for an investment property, I should be doing 20% down payment and it's mandatory, right?
For an investment property, yes.
For an investment property,
what are you trying to do with the investment property is the question. Because you can buy it at 5% and then claim it as investment. But what is your goal with that property is the question.
Okay, so personally, I'll explain my situation. So I already own a primary residence.
I can't hear you. Can you be a little more audible, please?
Can you hear me now?
Still, that's not good, but
it's okay. Yeah, you can work with this.
Can you hear me now? No?
Better. Yeah, now it's better.
Amazing.
Perfect. Thanks. So I already own a primary residence in nearby Toronto.
Okay.
So I'm looking to buy a second house, and I would like to know like how much down payment should I put in? Like you already told me that I can buy for 5% and then convert into the investment property, right? But
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so can I do it with having my primary residence, or is there a right? So I have to
sell. So currently you have a primary residence. How much equity do you have in it? Did you buy it at 5% down?
I bought it with 10% down.
Okay.
It's very recent. So I think the equity is around $50,000 right now. It's very less.
Okay. So not a lot. So you cannot really tap into a HELOC or do a cash refinance from that, right? And if you buy something else for 5%, this becomes your kind of like, this is not your primary anymore. So you can't really do that. But if this was the first property you're buying and you don't have the town and you want to get in, you just go with 5, but you cannot do 5. I think you have to go with 20.
Okay.
So do you have funds to buy for 20% anywhere else?
Yeah, so that's why I'm looking at the Cornwall market.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'm still at the beginning phase. I have to still analyze the market and based.
Wonderful. Now let me add some spice to the thing what you're saying. For example, if I'm a seller, okay, and you're saying you just want to buy a property, but you don't have 20% down. But you're saying that instead of, say, we agreed, you want to buy my house for $450,000. I'm saying that I'll sell it for $500,000. I don't want to sell it for less, right? Now, what we can do is you can come to me and say like, hey, Ishan, I can buy your property for 475 or 480 also, which will not work with my numbers, but Ishan, I can do that. Can you give me 10% VTB or 5% VTB for some time, right? So now you're trying to play with the numbers where you don't even need the 20% down payment. You can get started, right? Even if you're paying him interest, because I have taken the bank out of the picture. So I'm not paying bank anything. Why not? I can earn some interest from you, right? In the same time. So you can be creative in these manners. So try to put offers, get rejected, try to be creative, how people try to be creative. There's a wonderful book called Money People Deal. Once you read that book, you understand there is 3 parameters to getting like the whole thing done. So you think money is important, it is not. You think deal is important, sometimes it is not. You think the person who is conducting the whole, because his idea is like how I can make this work, he can make a deal out of thin air, which is not a deal and he doesn't even have the money. So educate yourself and put offers and try to go back. Okay, you didn't accept. Can we do VTV? Can we do this? Just like keep talking, like just make it interesting. Like how can I make this movie interesting? And then if it works, it works. It doesn't, it doesn't. You just lose time. And if it works, then you save some money, right? You don't have to worry and till you have 20% down. We were like very late to understand this initially. Had somebody taught us this, life would have been amazing. But yeah, so now you have the idea. It can be done.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay, we're at 12 o'clock. So thank you so much, guys, Sid and Nishan, for coming. It was awesome to hear you guys give us some tips and tricks in the real estate investing world.
Yeah, absolutely.
I hope you guys got a lot of value, because at this end of the day, like, we also started from somewhere, and we are very glad that we can provide value, and if it can make some change in your life. And please feel free to reach out if you have some questions. Don't reach out to some basic questions like, hey, is it 20% down payment or 5%? Like, if you're buying, like, just if you can Google the question, just Google it.
Google it, watch a Matt McKeer video, because he would have answered everything.
Yeah. But if there's something specific to, okay, Cornwall, Ishan, you invest in Cornwall, this is one of the properties I'm looking at. What is your thoughts? Okay, I can just quickly see. If I don't know, I'll send it to my friend. Like, things like that. When you're actually asking the expert about his niche, that is where you should concentrate on asking that questions. And then once you get those answers, you become gradually expert. And then you can take like action just like that. You don't need like coach or something. I'm just saying that you don't need a coach, but that's how you take confident action by yourself, right? And we are the coaches. All our network is
your coach.
The best coach you can get, frankly, until you have the money for the coaching. But yeah, that's what I would sum it up. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Diana, for giving us this opportunity. This was amazing.
Yeah, thank you guys. And great points, great ending point too. So thank you everyone for coming on. And yeah, thank you, Sean and Sid. It was awesome to have you guys here. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye,
Bye, guys.
See you. Bye.